Hey everybody, welcome back to the We Are Pool Players podcast. I'm your co-host Greg Plester.
Here with Erik Hjorleifson.
And let's get into it. So Erik, we're back, another week gone by, and the biggest thing that we need to cover is the Iron City. The Iron City Open had the 9-ball, 10-ball, and 1 pocket. Pretty high payouts. And who won, Erik?
Same winner in all three divisions. Same guy that's been winning all the tournaments. Him and Fedor.
I was just gonna say, was it Fedor? No, just kidding. Yeah,
no, he wasn't there. That's why he didn't win. He went home. Yeah. Actually, he made a post about his trip, about winning the whole time, basically.
He said, "I'm out. Thanks. Hey, thanks, US. See ya."
Yeah, but the other guy that's on fire won all 3 divisions. Dennis won all 3.
That's right. That's crazy. That's like, what kind of feat is that? I mean, who else has done that with all 3? I know there's been lots of times where they've won a couple or come close, but all 3, like, I personally don't remember anyone winning all 3.
Yeah, I want to think about if the same player ever won 2 divisions at Derby City Classic, not including the 16-player 10-foot. I think it's happened, but I couldn't say it off the top of my head. Shane might have done it. If anyone might have done it, it would have been Shane.
Something tells me that's where I know somebody's been close. I think somebody won not too long ago, a couple events, but all 3, like, oh my God. Like,
yeah.
How good are you?
There was less players overall in this tournament, but
sure.
Yeah, you're talking 3 different disciplines on 3 different size table, or on 2 different size tables. You're talking about 1 pocket, and you're talking about bar table 9-ball and 9-foot 10-ball. So the guy's really on top of the world right now, right? I mean, he's winning. Him and Fedor are winning pretty much every tournament, every big tournament that they enter.
To run down it, we had, so in the 10-ball single elimination, race to 9 on the 9-foots. So Dennis won. Warren Campco came second. That's a name you haven't heard in a while. He hasn't been really kicking around. Well, I guess nobody's really kicking around, but I haven't really heard his name in a bit. I'm a big fan of his. Omar Alashin and Johnny Mora, the Mr. Smooth Canadian boy, gets into the top 3. He did well this tournament as well.
And he got 5th in the 1 pocket too. And actually, Warren got 2nd in the 1 pocket, so that's interesting. I didn't think of that. Warren and Dennis were in 2 finals.
Oh, wow. Wow. And then we got the 9-ball. The 9-ball was 4,000 added. Race to 9, race to 7, and there's no 3 foul rule, which was interesting. 9 in the spot, alternate break, and it was a $100 entry. Dennis wins that one, and he went undefeated. And second place was Devin Poteet. I see that name kicking around. I don't really know much of him, except I see him pop up on posts from time to time. I do know he's a good player. And then Jonathan Hennessy. Now, Jonathan Hennessy had a match record of 12-2. So that's telling me he lost early and then just ran through the B side. So that's always pretty awesome. And then to get to the top 3 is pretty amazing as well. So obviously we go, there's a lot of pool players, kind of like golf, the highs and lows, and it's tough. I think it's tough at times to continually see a winner. Now, lately, we've continually been seeing Fedor and Dennis. However, there's only a few people kind of in the box. There's not a lot of tournaments. It's the same kind of names popping up, right? What do you think it takes to get into that kind of zone where obviously your confidence is sky high? Needless to say, the fundamentals are flawless. So, but to continually win, to continually dodge, any kind of rules or anything where you're just always winning. Like what does it take to have that kind of consistency?
Yeah. So, I mean, like, something that has to happen is you're going to win a couple close matches during the tournament, right? And, if you're not ready to win those close matches, it's just not going to happen, right? I think when you start getting on a roll like that, you start creating an intimidation factor too, where it's like, players are kind of looking over their shoulder when they're playing you, right?
Sure.
I mean, these fields that he's winning in, they're not like the same fields as the World Championships, right?
No.
But they're not like fields where he's supposed to, hands down favorite or anything like that. I mean, even in the one pocket, you had Chohan, Frost, Thor. It was a strong one pocket field, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've been on runs like that where I've won a lot of tournaments where I was a good favorite in, and I think that he's one of the 5 favorites in this. But you're talking about having a match record. He lost one match this weekend, as far as I know. He lost the winter side final to Gamco, right? And you got to think about how many he played.
Oh
he
my
probably
God.
played about 30 matches or something, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's impressive, It just kind of makes you think about, well, how much luck is there really in the game, right? Unless you have 32 players that play like Orcollo in the same tournament, right? But if you have 5 and one of those 5 is hot, it's been shown that player can win at a real high percentage, right?
Is it as simple as you just got to play? Is it as simple as that? You just got to play. You want to be consistent. You want to consistently kind of grab the cash or perform well in events. You got to be playing. Be it action, be it tournaments, be it league for some players, but you got to be playing.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to the point where you can't have, you're not letting anything put chinks in your armor, right? If you're stuck 4 games, you're not worried about it. If it's hill, you're not worried about it, right? That's how you're thinking. You're just waiting for your chance, and you're ready to run out, right? That's all easier said than done. We're talking about guys that where their run out percentage on open tables is in somewhere in the high 90s, or not high 90s, but
high.
You can't, over 90%, right? You can't necessarily think like that, or it's not going to help you to think like that if you just can't run out enough, because you won't win that often. You know what I mean? You can't get through a big player field 5 times in a row unless for some reason you're just in a different class than weaker players that never run out, right? But yeah, I guess the thing that's kind of interesting for me about him is that he's not necessarily a real big breaker, right? He's more of a compact breaker. So I don't think, he's not like Shane where he's making 3 and 4 balls on the break and he's, just kind of getting easy games. I think he just controls the break well and he maneuvers around very well, obviously,
Well, I think this is the same with Fedor as well, and I'm obviously a lot of pros, but those two, especially as of late, I think this definitely speaks volumes to mental toughness,
Sure.
At the table. These fields over the weekend, I mean, they weren't easy. They weren't walkovers, and Dennis won all 3 against some great opponents. Because, like you said, down 2-0, down 4-0, hill, whatever. There's still a confidence level and a belief. This might be a poor analogy, but it's almost kind of like watching Ronnie O'Sullivan play snooker. He just knows it. He just believes in it. It's a game to him, and he's just running centuries. And that's kind of, I think that's the winning mindset that that kind of relaxed confidence that I think Dennis does. When you watch him play his one pocket and when you watch him play in general, I don't know, he's got a bit of a swagger and he just has a confidence and he just kind of runs out.
Mm-hmm. I've been in those kind of mind frames on lower levels, right? On a regional level where, I'll go into the tournament and I'll say, I'm going to have to get unlucky to lose this weekend. And when I'm thinking like that, I win at a very high percentage, right? I'm not bragging. It's just a regional tournament, right? But he's doing this on a world class level with 5 to 10 world class players in the tournament, right? Yeah, it's just a mind frame that you get into.
And the other part of that too is, when you are playing a tournament and you do start going a few rounds and you do start getting that stroke underneath you, your confidence level does rise, and you just seem to miss less balls. I'm talking a little bit more at an amateur level, but a lot of our listeners aren't pros. And, I think they can attest to that too. Once they get going, once they get rolling in tournaments.
I think one of the keys that happens when you get in a winning habit like that is you're eliminating doubt out of your mind, right? If mistakes happen, then you just accept that they happen, but you're not expecting them to happen. That type of thing, right?
That's a great way of putting it. And that's where Fedor and that's where Dennis, that's where they live right now, and there's a lot of other players that I'm sure are there too, but I mean, there's just not a lot happening yet, right? There's just not a lot of players.
Yeah, except for a set for 400,000 this weekend with Skylar and Dennis.
That's what they're at.
That's what they're reporting that the bet is. I don't. Yeah, it's massive. It's the biggest rotation bet that I've heard of in a lot, like maybe ever.
At least mainstream,
for sure.
Right? Yeah. Like there might be a few back alley ones, but we've never heard of something like this.
Yeah, we've heard of bigger bets in one pocket here and there, and that generally involved like big handicap stuff like that. Yeah. But for me, this is the biggest bet ever. If it really is 400,000, I mean, they're not like, this is not a rumor. This is what they're saying. Are they going to bring 800,000 cash and show it on the table before the match starts? I don't know, but like I don't think they have any reason to lie about it.
Like the World Series of Poker, they just wheel it out. Hey.
Except they're not in a secure casino; they're just in a pool room. But But no, it's going to be interesting, and there's real big money on the line. For those of you that don't know, it's a bar table 10-ball set between Skylar Woodward and Dennis Orcollo. I don't know. It doesn't say what kind of bar table they're playing on. I have to assume it's a diamond. I have to assume for that much money, you wouldn't be playing on a valley. And I'm assuming they're using the magic rack. The thing that's interesting about this set is that, so Dennis is on top of the world. He's winning everything. He is an accomplished bar table player. I can't think of a specific situation where he's got in a long race on the bar table, but he's won many bar table tournaments. He's a known strong bar table player, and playing against Skylar Woodward, who's undefeated in long race bar table sets. He's won at least 4, maybe 5 or 6 against good players, right? So it's really a battle of the Titans. It's going to be fun to watch. Race to 150, long set.
Who do you like?
Yeah, I think it's very tough. I'm just going to go with the guy that's hot. I'm going to go with Dennis.
So you're going with Dennis. I like Skylar. I don't know. I don't know if that's because I've watched Skylar online play more often on the bar table that I you know what? I don't know if I've seen Dennis on a bar table. Maybe I passed by it once, but I've watched Skylar a number of times playing on a bar box, and just his maneuvers on the bar box to get to those spots. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure Dennis can do that too. But so I think maybe I'm just going with, I don't know what I know, but I think Skylar gets it. I don't think anyone's running away with it, that's for sure. And that it's funny that you had mentioned the pool hall. We were talking about this not too long ago, but all these tournaments, like, I mean, we're in a different space right now. There's not a lot happening, but all these tournaments are happening, and they have in the past too, but down in the States, just at pool halls, right? Like fairly good money tournaments in just normal everyday pool rooms,
right?
4,000 added, 10,000 added, 5,000 added, multi-event tournaments. Everyone's coming out to play.
Yeah, well, something that I'm seeing happening is that the entry fees are going up a little bit, which means that there's more strong players and there's more players that are interested enough in the game to put up a bigger entry fee once a year or twice a year when big events come to their hometown. Which I mean, that's not really a big deal to do something like that. You know what I mean? If you're not a favorite, go in with a couple of your buddies if it's a $300 entry, whatever. Put in 100 each. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's to me it's signifying something about people are playing more and people have a thirst for getting better now. But yeah, like the entry for the one pocket tournament on the weekend was $1,000. It was $1,000 entry, and there's been a few, I think, events in Ohio 2 weeks ago, or I guess it was last week, where there was some big entry tournaments there too. There was a $500 entry tournament, right? Like that's where the money comes from in poker. A lot of the money comes from the entry fee.
So all these events, high entry fee, good money added, everybody's playing in it. Like, let's say post COVID, these events are going to continue. They're going to pop up, and there's going to be more of them, and more global players will be, going to them. How do these feed in to the future of pool, or does it just generate awareness of pool? participation in pool, has maybe even like a staging ground for, high-end amateurs who want to become professional and, maybe cash in a few of these. Is it kind of a stage for another level for them? Or is there a way? Because, right now it's inconsistent. It's great that they're out there, and it's great that it's promoting awareness, and the more money, the more people watch. It's that simple. So that's great. And everyone's streaming. The streams are getting better. That's fantastic. But I guess to sum it up, what's the point?
I think it's just kind of a tide me over for any player that wants to spend time in North America, right? It's like it's just going to push them along where they can earn some kind of living and kind of wait around until the matchroom events come, like that type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
There is one plan for, and we've never mentioned it on the podcast, but there is one plan for some kind of pro event through Ed Ladawi, the owner of Sandcastle Billiards. I don't remember the name of the tour offhand, but he has something in the works, and it's more than in the works. He's run some qualifiers for it. He's obviously a little bit tripped up with COVID and everything, but it's going to be, I want to call it like a 6 to 8 stop American Pro Tour, and I feel like it's about 15,000 first prize, and it'll be billed as like a pro tour, right?
We need those Joss Tour type events, right? The Joss Tour is a fantastic tour, right? As everybody knows, the Turning Stone, a decent entry fee, whatever. Even the money aside, it's a lot of people play, especially in Turning Stone, and having more of those type of tournaments and standardizing it, 9-foot tables, 9-ball kind of. Let's say, for instance, 5 to 8 of those in the States, and they each host, 6 to 8 tour stops through a season, and they're standardized on the same table, same kind of rules, and if you had that, well, that's something. Like those events, those tours can feed into something else, right?
Sure.
Or Matchroom can potentially use some premium tours as a ranking, right? Like kind of like they loosely do with, WPA used to do that, right? For their points, but Matchroom could start to sanction some of these. Obviously they're going to say, well, you have to do this and you have to do that and you have to do this. But if you're going to get mentioned on Matchroom Pool, then yeah, okay. Like for the most part, we'll put up some banners, like we'll do some stuff, right? But
I think so. They should be telling them what to do, right?
Absolutely.
To a certain extent. Sure, you can have the flavor of your own event. I don't think they have to dictate every single rule, but I agree with standardizing a lot of it, right?
Yeah, and they know that, right? Matchroom knows that. And you know what? You ask any pool player, do we need to standardize our game to get it to the next level? Yeah, absolutely we do. And every pool player knows that we got to standardize the game. Obviously, we can't get to the next level on different size tables, different size racks, different size breaks, different types of balls, different types of tables, different. We've talked about this, and not to beat a dead horse, but everybody knows that. Matchroom knows that, and if we can get those tours, right, to kind of start talking about it, and don't kid yourself, I'm sure everybody knows it. We're not sitting here with any kind of billiard secrets, right? People know this, so hopefully, Mike Zuglin and whoever Sandcastle, hopefully they have a dialogue. Where's Sandcastle? Isn't that West Coast or is it Texas?
It's in New Jersey.
Well, it's in New Jersey. Okay, yeah. Well then they should talk. That's relatively close as far as the United States go. So there's a start, right? Very interesting, but yeah, everybody's at the pool room, so it's good. It definitely brings awareness, gets people playing. There's more money, more viewership. That's great. And you know what? I just thought of this. Another good one is you get more exposure for the pros.
For sure.
Have you noticed, sorry, I feel like I'm hogging the podcast, but real quick, have you noticed over the last 3 to 5 years what pros are wearing at these tournaments, like just bar tournaments, even though there's a decent amount of money? But have you noticed what they're wearing? They're wearing uniform. They're wearing, yeah.
with their patches on it because all the events are streamed now too, right? Yeah, no,
That's right.
I think it's all good. I just want to see a bit more of a professional shift in the American scene a little bit. I think that'd be nice, and that's what's going to lead into getting ready for matchroom events, right?
Yeah, and I mean, there's a few production companies that really do take it to the next level. And I don't Rackham. What was the other one? Havoc. Like, there's a few out there. I don't want to, obviously I miss a few, but I don't want to say the other ones aren't good. But there's definitely some good production value out there, and I just love how everybody's wearing these, their name on their back and their patches, and and these are bar table. Or even bar table, right? Bar table tournaments, little 9-foot tournaments, the one pocket. But yeah, exactly. It's starting to get streamed a lot more. Production value is upping its game. So now they're dressing the part, and I mean, that's what we need too. Even though it's a bar room tournament, it's like there's not one bowling event where somebody's coming in with like a golf shirt, like
sure.
Like they've got. They're dressing the part. Like, I am a professional player, and they're speaking to that image. So, it's great to see for sure. So, the World Cup of Pool that's happening soon. There's a few teams that have now registered. We've got the Dutch duo of Niels and Mark. I'm not even going to attempt his last name. Can you say it? What is it?
It's Mark Beesterbosch.
Oh, you made that sound so much easier than I made it out to be. I don't know. I don't like. Maybe the J wasn't silent, but just or I don't know. Anyway, we've got and we also have a women's team of Kelly Fisher and Allison Fisher. That's going to be exciting. I hope they win a bunch. Finland, Casper and Petrie, and we've got
Mika's not on the Finnish team.
Nope, Mika's not on it. Poland, we got. Whose idea was to bring up the World Cup of Pool? Misiko, I don't know, Fortuniski, and Suzuki.
Oh yeah,
Wozniak. Anyway, whatever. It's the same duo. You know who I like so far though? I like Spain, Alcaide and Sanchez Rez. I like that team. David Alcaide is a beast, and I like that team. So. Have we heard anything about Canada? Alex, Johnny, you, Jason, anyone?
I think Alex and John are the most active players right now, so I think it has to go to them. John's been in the U.S. for almost a year now. He's been around Vegas, and he's been playing around there. Alex, played throughout the pandemic whenever he could. The rest of us have been playing, but we've been in Canada.
Well, yeah, hopefully we get a Canadian contingent in there. Regardless of who, everybody's very good. And also, obviously, Albin and Mario, Oshan and Mario, they always really good team. Didn't they win it? Did they win it last year?
They did, yeah.
They've won it a couple times.
Yeah.
I think they've won it. Yeah, like that's a really strong team. So that's exciting. No States teams in yet. I don't know if that's because they're just waiting to see how the lockdown and it's so everything's so up in the air right now, but really looking forward to the World Cup of Pool. Who doesn't like a little Scotch doubles action? Who doesn't like quick races? It's going to be great. It's going to get some decent viewership for sure. And I think we all can follow the format.
Right.
Hey, they won. There.
Yeah.
Good job. So hopefully we get a Canadian team signed up soon. And once we find out, we'll also post it on our We Are Pool Players page. Hey, everybody, real quick, thanks for everybody again for the support. And please make sure you give us a like and a subscribe if you can, and give us a rating too. It gets us in other people's ears. And I think we're coming up to the end of the podcast. Keep those